Hey guys, good afternoon. We will wait to get started until 1 or maybe a couple minutes after, but if you would like to go ahead and put in the chat your name and the school district or organization you're with. And this week's icebreaker question is, if you could give a piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be? So we can come off mic once we start the meeting, but if you want to go ahead and put it in the chat, that would be great. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our monthly Foster Youth Collaborative meeting. It's almost 1 o'clock. We're going to allow some participants time to still trickle in, and then we'll begin our event for today. Thank you.
Terrific sale hour. Things are in limited supply, so you want to make sure your fingers in shape and you're ready to rock and roll. One of the greatest ways to be able to make things fast during sale is download our app. Go to the
Okay. So good evening again, or good afternoon. I'm sorry. I'm pushing the day a little bit faster. So I have 1:02 by my time, and I think we can get started with our meeting for today. Anna, are you here?
Yes, I
Great.
am here.
Good to see you. Okay, so as I said, thank you so much for joining us for our March Foster Youth Collaborative meeting. My name is Aurelia Johnson, and I am a career education specialist with Workforce Solutions. And I am joined by some of our other planning committee members for this meeting. Anna, I believe I see you, and anyone else that is a part of that planning committee, please feel free to come off mic and introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Anna Cluth. I am also a part of our Foster Youth Collaborative planning meeting, our planning collaborative, excuse me. And I am a student hybrid navigator. I think I saw Maisha. And also, guys, we do have an icebreaker if you wouldn't mind putting it in the chat. And then also, if you want to come unmiked and share what you would give, what advice would you give your younger self? So I'm sure we could all make a list of that, but maybe just the highlights.
A list, I can do a book. How about that?
All right. Hey, Maisha.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maisha Lyons. I'm a contract manager here at the board. And I put that I would tell myself to think a little bit longer before I make decisions.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
So, Emma, this is Marilyn, the Community Outreach and Awareness Specialist for VR Services. I sent you an email. I just went to another meeting and I got in, so I'm good. But
Oh, good.
the chat, the advice I would give my younger self is to not let fear get in the way. Go for it.
Love it.
That's a good one, Marilyn. I'm probably with my Isha and hers. I would tell my younger self the top thing is just to slow down. So, you know,
And I
not moving the
see
second word, slow down.
Miss Stephanie Williams has a good one of just because they approve you for a credit card doesn't mean you need a credit card. So I think
That's so true.
Yeah,
do you,
they've come a long way with that because they used to set up and like basically bamboozle you on campuses at college. I don't think they're able to legally do that anymore, but yeah, they had that down. It was pretty. That's a trap.
That's how they got me. That's how they got me.
Yes, me too. Guilty.
there's a lot of good ones. If y'all would like to come in mic'd, of course, we would love to hear and see you.
Hi, I'm Laura Banks, and I'm the workforce supervisor at the Hayes Center. And I would say stay motivated and don't let the distractions discourage you.
And Laura is a part of our planning committee as well. She is our icebreaker queen. So we appreciate the mute some people. Terrell, you had a good one. Do you want to share yours?
Oh, of course. My name is Tyrell Green. I'm here with Life Enhancement Services. We provide therapy here in Houston. And a big thing that I would tell myself was, to focus on my true passions, not what a lot of people expected, me to be. I played a lot of sports, spent a lot of time doing that. And then just to be, where I'm at now, I could care less about sports. I'm all about my community outreach now. And I wish I would have gave it a little bit more effort when I was younger.
That's good. Yeah, there's a lot of one. I think Travis Evans, you're saying understand the power of saying no, which is I think important too. Stay away from student loans.
My name is Maria Reyes. I'm a supervisor here at Cypress Station. I believe one of the things that I would like to enforce is depending on the areas that you grew up in, you're very hesitant to believe in individuals that want to assist you or help you, in regards to certain or specific things. I think that that's one thing I would tell my younger self is to remember that there are genuine people out there that really want to help you and to kind of know who to allow to help you.
That is a good one because I think it is when you're young, it's hard to know who to trust, and so being open to that. Okay, I feel like after every icebreaker, we need to have a little like coffee table book or something. we all come up with such great great advice and answers. So we will go ahead and get started. I don't know if anybody else from our planning team is here. If Bobby, I see you're on. Do you want to say hi real quick?
Good
She
afternoon,
might be in a
everybody. Sorry, Anna, I'm in more than one call. I apologize.
I figured. All right, I don't know if Richard or I don't know if Janine is back, but we have some great information to share today, and we have a very special guest. So we are excited to have somebody who has a lived experience. And Laura, if you don't mind, if you would like to introduce our guest today, that would be wonderful.
Sure. I would like to introduce Deasia Wiggins. She's our peer support specialist at the Hayes Center.
Hello, I'm Deasia Wiggins. I'm very, grateful that you guys are allowing me the chance to just kind of give you a backstory on what it was like for me in care and how I kind of progressed and how I got to Texas and working at the Hayes Center and all that good stuff. So I originally trying to figure out how to say. Okay, so I was adopted at 13 months and I came into foster care at the age of 7. And then I just kind of had my ups and downs on a lot of medications, in and out of in and out of a lot of foster homes and schools. So that really affected my education because I never had a stable school. So I was never able to actually learn stuff because I was just going from different schools to schools. Um, what else? I ended up, so I pretty much stayed in foster homes, different foster homes from 2014 to 2018. So I was probably in like 2 or 3 foster homes per year in that time frame. And it was rough. It was really rough, but yeah, so that was that. And then in 2019, I went to Job Corps. And if you don't know what Job Corps is, it's a work-based learning environment where you learn job skills that will help you with careers and get jobs and stuff like that. And you can live on campus or off campus. I feel like that helped me a lot because there was a lot of stability being in Job Corps, rather than being in like foster homes and going to different schools and stuff like that. And I got my high school diploma in Job Corps, and I got my certificate in culinary arts and became a certified kitchen cook and a certified manager for any restaurant. And then after that, COVID had happened, which is another really big struggle for foster kids because a lot of foster homes aren't opening their doors for foster kids. So you have a lot of kids that from early 2020, probably till now, that are homeless in shelters or group homes or residentials, even though they don't require to be in those. So you have that huge situation going on. And I'm trying to think what else. So yeah, so I ended up leaving Job Corps and I moved to Texas in 2020. And I was originally in an organization in Brenham. Obviously, being in Brenham, it's hard because there's not much out there and there's not a lot of work opportunity or school opportunity. So I moved to Houston and I'm in an organization called Journey Home. And they've helped me a lot, like with achieving my license and like staying stable with work and school, getting me in school. So yeah, that's kind of my little life story. If you have any questions, you could just, ask me.
Wow. Thank you, DeAsia. And yeah, it's a big step to share all of your information. I'm sure we will have some questions. I do have a question on when you were in Job Corps, did you live on campus or did you live off campus?
Yeah, so I did with its challenges, like personally not for me, but boys. Just a bunch of challenges you get from on a campus, a bunch of people in your age range. So I did live on campus, but that did not stop me from getting my diploma.
Okay. And how did you hear about Job Corps?
So I just kind of I just did my research. So I just looked up schools that help you with culinary arts, schools that will teach you culinary arts for low cost. And Job Corps popped up. And that's when I just kind of learned about them and decided I wanted to go with them.
Wow, so you have a lot of initiative too. And that's a resource that I don't think we've talked about in this group yet or that I've heard of. So that's a great share as well. And so you are working at Journey Home now?
No, I'm working at the Hay Center. Sorry, I forgot.
You're working at
Yes,
okay.
I as the peer support specialist. So I pretty much am always interacting with the youth. When they come in and they check in and they need someone, I'm there to help them. On Saturdays when we have our life skill classes, I am there just to hang out and just be that support. If they play games or all that good stuff. So, but I live at Journey Home, Houston.
Okay. Awesome. And so, well, I'll keep asking questions. So you got your certificate in culinary arts, right? And then in a certification in management as well. And so do you plan on working at a restaurant, or what are your culinary goals?
So my culinary goals, I think that was just kind of something for fun. My real passion is law, and advocacy. So right now I am going to school for paralegal studies. So that's going to be my future job. Maybe cooking on the side, but I think culinary arts was an out for me to get out of those numerous foster homes that I was in. But I should say job
Awesome.
culinary arts.
Awesome. I think there's a question. Somebody's hand is raised. Kristen?
Yes, it's me. I apologize. My camera's not on, you guys, but the lighting's weird in the our regional office. But hi, Deasia. I wanted to give you kudos, congratulations for all that you've accomplished so far. I know there'll be much more to come. I do have one question for you. So a lot of times when we see students who have interacted with the system, it's difficult to get that motivation going to go that next step and go to school and complete that, even though there's a lot of support out there. Could you tell us what supports you think made the difference, or if it was just, something in you that made you continue to push? That way we can try to replicate that support for other students like you.
So I think a lot of support was self-support, self-motivation, just like I've had a lot of people say like I wasn't gonna be this and I wasn't gonna be that, and I wasn't, all that good stuff. So I think a lot of that kind of motivated me to keep going. And then a big support is this lady right here, Christine at Journey Home. She really motivates me to keep going at school, even though I just want to cry and just stop. She's just like always there, so happy and bubbly, just keeping me going.
Oh.
So
and being annoying, and I like to be annoying about it, right?
As you can see, she's a really big support in my life. Like, no, like, not. I would still say this if she wasn't right here. So, just Journey Home in general, just like having that stability of someone who cares, outside of DSS, or I don't know what you guys say here. Forgot to mention I'm from Washington D.C. Just forgetting to mention a lot. DSS or CPS or Child Protective Services. So getting that support outside of a social worker, outside of knowing, this is somebody's job and this is what they're here to do, rather than somebody, is volunteering to support you and stuff like that. So, and then they also love you at the same time. So just those things put together really supports me.
That's super helpful. Thank you so much. And kudos to you as well for being that support.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love Deasia, and and I'm here for her for the long haul, even if she, whenever she does eventually move out on her own. My husband and I and our whole board, we love her a lot.
I gotta cry.
No, I'm not gonna cry.
Looks like we have a couple other. If you just want to unmic, who's let's see, Tyrell. I see Tyrell and Richard.
Yeah. So thank you, Deasia, for speaking. And just in the pursuit of knowledge for myself, excuse any ignorance, but I'm want to learn more about the foster youth. You said between the years of like 2014 and 2018 that you were going to like 2 or 3 foster homes each year. Is that normal for foster youth to switch that much?
So yes and no. So once you get a certain age in foster care, this is not written in the books. This is just being in care. These are things that you kind of pick up on. So once you get a certain age in foster care, let's say 12, you stop. Not a lot of foster parents want to keep you long term, so they have things called respite homes, and those are short-term homes that take you until they find a permanent placement. Or if you have a permanent foster home and they go on vacation, then you'll go to a respite. A lot of mine were short-term placements until they found a finalized placement. So it can be normal Probably more now because of COVID, but when I was in care, it was very normal for me to flop from home to home to homes, and it could be for numerous things like your foster parent's license expires and they don't know, and you just get taken out of the home into it, or it could be a lot of things, but yeah. So those are it was normal for me.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
I think Richard also had his hand up. Richard, if you want to speak off mic.
I'm sorry. I'll figure out where my buttons were. I just wanted to say hi. And
Richard, I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt. Could you turn your volume up? I can see you on mic, but we cannot hear you very well.
really, that's because my volume is low. How about that? How about now?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Okay. I've got an external mic because whoever decided to build this tablet decided to put the microphone bottom. In any event, we just wanted to say from the Hay Center how proud we are of you. Thank you so much for presenting.
I didn't hear your question. I didn't hear you.
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much from the Hay Center. We're proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Did you hear me that time?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Good.
Richard was saying, in case there's people that didn't hear, Richard was just saying what a good job Deasia does at the Hay Center and how grateful they are to have her working there. I thought I saw another hand come up. Did it go back down?
There was, Ms. Perez. I don't know if you still had a question, Ms. Perez, but you're welcome to speak. I don't see it now, but I did see it as well.
Hi, Deasia. This is Tiffany. I wanted to ask you if there was one thing that you can change about the foster system, the top thing that you would do different, what would that be?
That's a hard question. It's like asking someone what's their favorite food. Like there's so many things that needs changing in the system. One thing that I personally would change is taking out for-profit, nonprofit foster homes. So those type of foster homes don't do any type of background search. They don't do any type of training. They just say, you have a room, you have an extra bed, okay, well, we have somebody, and they get paid. These organizations get paid for however many foster kids they get into their organization. So kind of like stocks, kind of. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of like, it's very weird, but those type of foster homes are very dangerous. And I know 2 people that committed suicide because they were in those foster homes and they spoke out about a lot of things that were going on and nothing ever happened. So because the more kids they accept, the more money they receive.
Well, you're amazing and you're going to change the system for the better and you're going to make this world better. So thank you for overcoming what you can.
You're welcome.
Mr. Matthew?
Hi, Deasia. Thanks for coming on to this call with everybody. And I'm super happy to hear about your successes and that you get to work for the Hay Center. I did have a question about foster homes. Were there any ones that were helpful to you? And if so, what made them different? If none of them were good, that's okay.
So I would like to say all my foster homes had their ups and downs. None of them, because I was really young in majority of my foster homes. None of them really made a huge impact on my life, just because as a kid, you see the bad is more effective than the good. So all I can remember is the bad things that's happened in my foster homes. I know like maybe one or two in like the first 3 to 4 months. It was like amazing, and then something just like switched, and then it was horrible. So I think a lot of people just lose that spark that they originated with. So I will say all of them had their good and bad.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Koya?
Hi, Miss Riggins. Hi, I just want to let you know that I am so happy for you. Um, and I totally agree with you. I was a CPS conservatorship caseworker for several years, and I have witnessed a lot of things, especially with foster care agencies. So I totally agree with you. And even like with some of the young people that I actually encountered when I was working with CPS, a lot of those poor kids, they don't have a voice. And sometimes, a lot of foster parents, they don't have the proper training when they are, with these agencies, and it's all about the money. It's all about the money. So, when I was working at CPS, I always listened to the kids that I work with because, they have a voice. And like I said, I totally agree with you when it comes down with a lot of foster cares, agencies, including foster homes, because they don't have the proper training. And I just want to just say congratulations with you, because it's not too many kids your age that age out. It's not too many of them are going to school or, doing something that they always want to do because they don't have the support. But with you, you have the support. And I just want to let you know that congratulations, sweetheart, and keep going what you've been doing.
Thank you so much.
All right, I don't see any more questions. Again, Deasia, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story. I do actually have a question, because so the topic today is challenges during transition, and we've heard from different people in our group about transportation. So I just kind of wanted to get your opinion, or what is your method of transportation between where you go, and just hear your opinion on that, or what your take is.
Yeah, so the organization that I'm with, they actually bought a car for when we get our license for us to drive to and from work. I will say though, there's not a lot of places that foster care provides a lot of things except for transportation. We can't do those things. That we can't go to school if if you don't have if you can't provide a bus pass, or if if you can't help us like with the program that helps get us a car. We can't go to work. These things are required in care when you get a certain age, but you can't do them without transportation. And I really looked up a lot of places. I tried to look up places that help you, at least go half with you on a car, on a cheap used car. None, zero. There's like maybe 4 or 5. So I think a lot of these places that are trying to help kids with work and school should be, helping them with transportation, because a lot of the times bus cars aren't reliable. Like buses aren't reliable, not bus cars. Bus cars are reliable. Buses are not reliable transportation. A train is not reliable, and it's also dangerous a lot of the time, especially when you're young and a female. So I think that there should be programs that help, if I put 2,500 towards a car, then, you meet me halfway and put 2,500 towards a car, or the organization.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, this is a good transition since you are at the Journey Home, and we wanted to share the Journey Home's information. And is it Christine Nunez that's right next to you? Yes. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Isn't it awesome?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so thankful to.
We all agree. She's an awesome individual. I'm very proud.
Yes, she is. Yeah. So what y'all have, or what would you like me to say?
I think if you could, first of all, thank you, Christine, for joining us and sharing y'all's information. I guess just maybe telling the group what the Journey Home is, maybe a little background, and then how do young people have access to your organization?
Yes. Okay, awesome. So Journey Home Houston, I have to be specific with the Houston part of it because there's another organization called Journey Home Texas, which y'all might be familiar with, which is an awesome resource for women who are pregnant. So just to be clear, so we're Journey Home Houston, and this nonprofit was started a few years ago. I wasn't there for like the beginning part research phase, but two of our board members, our board president and then another board member, did about a year of research to try to formulate, a style of program that would work, that would be something that we could build on, and that would actually kind of like your question about transportation. What is something that we can offer the residents that they're not getting anywhere else? So transportation is a great example. We're a private nonprofit. So we're a private nonprofit, and so I'm sorry. Let me turn that up really quick. So we're a private nonprofit, and so because of that, we have a lot of freedom to be able to do a few different things that, maybe if we were public, we wouldn't be able to do. But Journey Home Houston, we've had our doors open for about 1 year with residents. The setup of it, we have our first campus is where we're at right now, which is Denver Harbor area. And we have my husband and I'm the director of operations / house mom, my unofficial title. And so we have our little family that lives in our front house. And then in the back house, it's a separate unit. It is a 2-bedroom apartment. And Deasia and then another young lady, and actually the other young lady's 3.5-year-old, they live in the back apartment. Our board president recently bought a second home, which is going to be in the Magnolia area, which keep that in mind for any youth, any young women. It's a program specifically for young women who are interested in our program. We're really trying to work on, your second question was about the criteria. We are working on that. We are very blessed to have Deasia and her roommate, who I kind of joke with them sometimes that you're kind of piloting this with us a little bit. And we're changing things as we go, especially once we get the Magnolia House up and running in about August or September is probably when we would be ready to accept new residents, and we could house, we're still figuring out those details, but probably about 3 to max 4 women, and we'll have a house parent at that campus as well. So our application process is going to be more streamlined, but the women that we're looking for, we really want to be, and I know that this is not a surefire thing, but won't always happen, but our dream is that we would be the last step to total independence, even if total independence is the residents living with each other after they graduate our program. Great. We're really hopeful that we can be, we're not a shelter, we're not like, the next step is not just a shelter or something like that. So the residents that we accept must be in school or signing up for school. It could be college or high school. So that's our educational component. We are Christian in nature. So, but that is one of our principles. We are all Christians, but we are open to interviewing even someone who's not. But that is something that we're very open about. The third is that we are, therapy is a must. And so attending therapy 2 times a month, the resident must be open for that, to do that. And then the fourth is budgeting. So we have a budget program. So we're refining that, but we have budget coaches who help us, with Deasia and the other young lady, and making sure that we're saving enough money, that we're knowing where our money is being spent, just some of those life skills. All of that is the stuff you put on paper and the stuff you can put on a website and the stuff that you can present. But the honest truth about, I think, what makes us different than any other, style of organization where you've got, shift workers, or you've got, it's the connection. It's the fact that if you want family, we're here. And families go through tough times and we have our troubles, but we're sticking together. And my husband and I are really passionate about this is family. Like, I'm not old enough to be anyone's mom, but I like to refer to myself as the very coolest older sister you could ever have. I'm really dorky, so that's not always the truth. But I think that that's what is, that can't really be put on paper, is we're really hoping that each resident will build a connection and it'll be lifelong. If they want it, we're here for that. So our application process, once again, is going to become more streamlined. But right now, and this has happened a few times, I'll get, on our email page, on our website, I've gotten youth who have messaged, sent an email to me, and it comes to me directly, and we're small enough right now where I can handle that. And so then of course, because we're full capacity, I've been, referring youth to youth or their PAL workers, or whoever happens to CASA workers have reached out to me or to our website, and I get it. But soon we will be able to give some yeses about proceeding with an interview process. And our interview process is lengthy. We're not crisis intervention, but we want to be able to take our time to accept a woman, because we want her to be understanding that this is going to be a home. And so we're looking for maturity. We're looking for her to be ready to live in group living without a lot of supervision. We're all about high accountability, low control. So there needs to be high accountability, but the control level, we don't have the desire to micromanage. We want this to really feel like home, like you would feel in your home. So that is Journey Home Houston for you in a nutshell. I hope I didn't over talk. I tend to over talk about my passion.
No, I think it's good. If anybody has questions, please put them in the chat or come on mic and go ahead. I did have a question. So just as an example, Deasia, is there a time frame that somebody has to stay there, or could it be until, like, what does that independence level look like when they graduate to that real world? Is it when they move into their own place, or?
Well, Dee Dee is a perfect example of, she's piloting this with us. She will be grandfathered into our original plan, which she has no time. So she could be 80 years old and
She wants me to stay with her forever.
Yes, yes.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, that's what we tell the others, right? But we are working on that. So that's an excellent question. We're working on what will our levels of growth be, and then what would graduation look like. Right now, we do have the residents, even Deasia signed a at-will 1-year long contract. So it's not a lease, right? But it's an at-will agreement. And we're even refining some of that process, because we want to make it to where we can we can work with each woman during her intake interview and decide what might be the best time frame for her and work with her on that so she has some agency and control over that.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
I can't give a cut and dry answer right now, but eventually will. And we might not ever be able to. It might always be an as needed thing.
I also have a question for you, Miss. Oh, go ahead, Anna.
I just have one more, sorry. Was for the therapy component that y'all have there, is that an in-house therapist or is it do y'all use other organizations to come in and support?
Right. Right now, we have a wonderful connection with Sagemont Counseling Center through Sagemont Church. So the ladies attend therapy at that campus, and sometimes they can do virtual sessions. For the Magnolia campus, that distance obviously won't work out. I just had a meeting last week with a therapist where we're brainstorming some ideas on how in what form will that happen for the residents at Magnolia, but 100% it will happen for the residents at Magnolia. That's a huge component, making sure that way there's accountability there too for mental health and emotional health and just for continued growth. So that will be a component. Not sure what Magnolia will look like, but right now we just outsource. We go to the facility. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Great. So Anna did ask one of my questions, and it was about therapists. I was going to ask if you outsource or they're a part of your organization already with Journey House Houston. And my second question is, I don't know if I heard you mention anything about age requirements. I know you said something about, the candidates and applicants, but what is the typical, is there a cap or a minimum age you guys like to start with? It's early, it doesn't matter, 13, 14, younger?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Oh, no worries.
With the state, so we're definitely 18. I really should have clarified that.
Okay.
Sorry.
18 and over. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there an age? Because I know Opportunity Youth usually it's like 16 to 24. So 18, it doesn't matter if you're a woman in her 30s, 40s. Oh, okay. Very good.
We'll see if they would be interested in applying it, if it would be the right fit. Review process goes well. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Thank you so much for what you and your husband are doing. It's awesome.
Well, it's definitely, we get to do the fun part, right? Like we get to do the fun part. We have a whole board who's awesome. And so we are, on our website, you can see our board, and we are fully funded by private donations. So just fingers crossed they keep coming through.
And just in case anybody else doesn't know, I'm not familiar with where Denver Harbor is. I was about to Google that, but I was like, let me just ask in case somebody else doesn't know.
Yeah, no. We're in the 610 loop. So we are about a 10 to give you a visual. We're about a 10-minute drive up I-10 to UH downtown. So we're really, and that's another reason why this location, really, we didn't know where we were going to land, but that's why being in the center, in the city center, really within the loop was really important to our board, so that we would have transportation is available, easy access to different school options and work. Magnolia campus is going to look a little different, but that's okay. We're working on it, and there's a lot of opportunities out there that aren't here. So.
And when would you start accepting referrals or applications for that Magnolia location?
Honestly, if any of you on the call do know of someone who you think would fit well, and that who you would be able to kind of refer them to us today, because not, like I said, we're not crisis intervention. So it's wonderful to be able to interview someone whenever they're not in crisis. Maybe they're about to turn 22 and their SIL is about to, they're about to have to find housing, but they have 2 more semesters of school left, right? Like this is kind of, I'm so thankful and honored that, to be invited to the call, because this is the way that getting the word out is best, is through mentors. And I'm sure each of you in some form or fashion mentor a youth. So if you think that the timing might be right for them, an August, September move-in, that would be great. And I'm really thankful that Dee Dee works at the Hay Center and that she was able to get us into this meeting. And Miss Laura, thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Christina.
And okay.
Hi, this is Bobby. I just wanted to let you know, Christine, when you mentioned financial education, I put a couple of links over in the chat. The Fed Reserve has a couple of free, really great programs, and so I added the links over there.
Okay.
All the materials are available for anybody who might need them for free, and so I thought that'd be a great resource to share on this call also.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby. And I see one more question, Miss Elvia.
Hello, my name is Oya Quintanilla. I am the founder actually of a technical trade school approved by Texas Workforce Commission. And this is really why I opened up a school to help out the communities. I am a woman owned business and I'm a Latina. So I've been through the process, not in the foster youth per to say, but I had a lot of friends growing up in the foster system. I was in a school where it was low, resources. So now that I was able to open up a school, I want to give back to the community. That's what I want to do. And I wanted to talk to you, and maybe we can talk more offline of how I can, be of help, because I am an educational source. So we're a adult career school, and it's a short program. So it fits well with what, the kids are trying to do. Right now, we only offer electrical, but I want to incorporate high growth skills, which is HVAC, plumbing, IT, medical billing, coding, things like that, because that is what our youth needs. If they can go to college or don't have the means to go to college, this is something that they can do. So I just want to introduce myself. Sorry, my camera, I'm in the warehouse right now. We're working, so it looks a mess out here. So sorry about that. But if you would like to connect, come visit us. We're here in South Houston. I would love for you guys to see what we offer. And we're right on the bus route too, because we keep that in mind that a lot of our kids don't have that transportation. So just want to introduce myself and say thank you for what you guys are doing.
Elvia, that's awesome. I'll definitely connect with you. I'll get your email, I guess.
I'll put it on the chat here if you want to get it from there, and then we can connect. Thank you.
Awesome, perfect. And Christine's information will be within the PowerPoint, but Christine, if you want to type in your information on the chat, we have some people asking for that also.
Okay.
And
let me.
Okay, and we will move on. We are getting tight on time. Miss Stephanie, are you?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. And we'll move through this quickly since
We might have to
maybe
continue too, since
my name is Stephanie. I work for Coalition for the Homeless, and we're the lead agency to the Way Home Continuum of Care. You can do the next slide. And we're essentially the Houston homeless response system. We cover Montgomery, Harris, and Fort Bend counties. And in order to access our system, you have to go through coordinated access. So basically, there are entry points at a lot of different locations. And then there's also a phone number, and 211 will also get you to the entry point. So once you contact us and let us know that you're homeless or that you're 14 days away from being homeless, you will have an assessment, and basically you'll get a score based on your vulnerability, which determines what programs you might be eligible for. Next slide. The three interventions that we're offering right now, one is permanent supportive housing. That's for people who score super high on the vulnerability scale. They have to be chronically homeless, which means they have to have 12 months of homelessness. And then they would be eligible, and a disability, and then they'd be eligible for permanent supportive housing, which is basically someone paying rent and housing for as long as it's needed. The second one is rapid rehousing. So those are people that are lower on the vulnerability score. It's typically 12 months of assistance with rent. The rent increases as the months go along. You also have case management, and this is a temporary intervention. And the third one, which is new this past year, is diversion. So these are for people who score really, really low when they do the housing assessment. And this is a program that's up to 3 months. They can pay rent, they can pay a deposit, they connect you to employment, different things that you might need. So it's basically to keep you in a house and keep you from being evicted. This diversion program is the program that a lot of the youth have used this past year. We've seen a lot of youth score and a score at a rate where they were put into this diversion program. And next slide will show you what all is available through diversion. So there's financial utility and our rental assistance, short-term case management, conflict mediation, connection to Main Street services and our benefits, and housing search. Next slide. What I'm really here to tell you about is something that's super cool. I think we've talked about that before in this group. Our Continuum of Care was awarded the Youth Homeless Demonstration Program grant. It's $10 million that came to our community, Harris, Fort Bend, and Montgomery counties, and it's by HUD. And the reason for the funding is to end youth homelessness. So right now we're doing planning and that sort of thing, but the idea is to have this money go towards projects that will actually catch these individuals as youth who age out of foster care. And it's the ages that we're targeting are 14 to 24. Next slide. We are meeting with our stakeholders right now, and this is just a list of all of the different people who are involved in the planning portion, which is going to end very soon. And we are also driven by a youth advisory board. So these are youth with lived experience between the ages of 14 and 28. We do have a web page, and so when you get this slide, you should be able to click on a link to our YHDP webpage. And if there are any youth who are interested in being on the board, that's an open process. But they do meet with us at all of our meetings and are helping us write the plan. Next slide. Oops.
Hi.
And these are the updates. We just started meeting in December, and our community plan is due April 1st. And then after it's approved by HUD, we'll start we'll do a notice of procurement for all the projects, and that'll be in July 2022. And that's it. The last slide is just my info, so you can email me if you want more information. Thanks, Anna.
That was quick. You did a good.
I know. I see we're running out of time, so I'm like, I don't want to take up all the time.
And there is another slide. We have those open share slides that has the information as well with those links. So we just kept that information in there. Are there questions for Stephanie? Anyone? And I always go back to this statistic that I learned when DFPS presented that this is so important. The work that Stephanie does and the Coalition for the Homeless and this huge grant that they just got, because the statistic that we learned was 1 in 3 foster youth become homeless. So very important that we are front loading, are getting all of this information before these individuals are aging out. So thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
We did want to hear from the group. We got some good information from Deasia. Miss Deasia has her hand up. Or Christine.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'd like to share, with her permission, she gave me permission to share her email, because I think that would be great if y'all would like to contact her. Do you want me to put it in the chat, or should I read it out loud?
If you could put it in the chat, that's great. And then I can also share it on the recap. And Deasia, you are welcome. We would love to have you join each of our meetings. We meet every month. Always good to have perspectives from the young adults that are out there.
Thank you.
But we have Miss Brandy from HGAC. Is she still on?
I don't know if I see her name still, Anna. Let's see.
Okay. Well, we did invite, and she may have already had to log off. But our transportation department at Houston Galveston Area Council, we wanted to invite them to hear some of these transportation barriers to see what we can do going forward or what they could do in transportation as far as addressing it and just making sure that they know and understand the barriers that our young people are having out there. Ones that we had heard before was like out in Conroe, there is no bus line. So we just want to kind of collect any information that you know about in your areas or that you hear students or foster youth or you may have yourself. We're opening the floor because I know we serve a large area and transportation is not covered everywhere. So we need input.
Can I speak on that?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Rolanda Rushing. I guess I should turn my camera on. I'm from the Hay Center, and we recently dealt with a transportation barrier out of Conroe. We have a young lady that's participating in one of our job training programs, and it was very difficult for her to get to NRG from Conroe. And so what we found was she was actually spending just a large amount of money just trying to Uber to a park and ride in the Woodlands, take the Woodlands to downtown, and a bus, I think one bus or two buses to get to the location. It's a 6-week program, so she's really dedicated to finishing the program. But one thing we found was that Conroe has a park and ride that is $8 round trip, and will bring you into the city. So that was a resource that we did not have earlier because she was Ubering, spending all this money Ubering. But there is a Conroe park and ride that we found that is $8 round trip, and if you're a student, it's $4 round trip.
Okay. So maybe that's a good resource to know, just like finding out where all of the parking rides are and making those available to the youth.
Yeah, Anna?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll weigh in on the transportation issue as well.
Please.
I've done this for many years in several states. You always have large urban centers with many, many resources. But oftentimes our children live in the outskirts, in the suburbs, or even in surrounding counties without those resources and without the transportation that brings them from out to in. And even when it's available, sometimes it's expensive and it's extremely time consuming. You would think the answer would be to let's get every transitioning youth a car, because basically in Texas, people drive to their mailbox and back. But we find that vehicle ownership is another barrier to them being successful. They're young drivers with very little practice on huge road systems. And of course, they're going to have accidents. That's not, anybody would. All of us driving long enough will have an accident. But they very often will let their insurance lapse, will afford the kind of vehicles, that $5,000 car that the Asia was talking about. Meet me in the middle, I'll give you 25, get 20. That buys you a piece of junk. So, 3 months later, you're looking at repair bills on top of, having very little financial resources to begin with. So I'm just here to say, I don't know what the answer is. If anyone should, you would think I would know after all these years, but it hasn't come to me yet. So let's put our best and our brightest minds together, and that would really make the lives of our transitioning youth so much better and have so much better outcomes.
Yeah, well, that's such a good point that you make too, Richard, because all of those, access and resources are usually in that urban area, and that's also usually the most expensive area to live. So of course, these individuals are going to have to be living, you know, on the outer outliers of those cities. Yeah, so feel free to email with more barriers. We would like to continue this discussion to be able to involve our transportation department too, because we, you know, that's the way that we can make things happen. The more we invite them, the more they're going to have to listen to us. So, or that's the goal. So everybody just keep thinking about that. Thank you all for who joined us. Miss Deasia, Christine, Stephanie, you guys are awesome. We will start planning our resource fair that's happening in October of 2022. We'll send more invites out. If you want to be a part of this group, we welcome you. You can email Aurelia, myself, Bobby, Laura, Richard, anybody. But we'll be meeting every other Wednesday, and that's beginning this Wednesday. Of course, we, you know, things come up. You can't come to every meeting, but we would love input from everybody who's available and would like to participate in that. So thank you all so much. Our couple open shares. This just came out before a foster care and student success guide from TEA. They have some webinars coming up this week and the next couple of months. So that'll be shared. We also had Lone Star has 100% financial support for tuition for careers in construction trades. So that's some good new information. We have our service industry. We've had that for the last couple of months. I believe this month is the last one. Maisha might be able to confirm that.
I'm sorry.
Is that still
For
this
the
month?
service industry, the deadline for anyone to apply is March 15th.
Okay, so you got about a week left. We have our Goodwill Connect for housing. Oops. Life enhancement services. So Tyrell spoke earlier, and he's from here. They have some good resources on mental health. The JET grant. This goes into more of what Stephanie was talking about, Coalition for the Homeless. With her information, she also shared her information in the chat. And we will see what we're talking about next month. Maybe. I don't see it.
It's not activated. It's not spinning. I can see you clicked it, but it just didn't spin in.
I don't know who our winner is.
You have a winner.
Okay, so I'll work on that and share with the recap. Our next meeting is April 11th, so hope to see everybody there. Y'all have a great rest of your Monday. Thank you all.
Thank you for joining. I just wanted to say too, if Deasia is still here, we can make her our honorary spinner of the wheel at the end. See, that's what her role can be every time she comes.
Oh, yes.
Thank you so much for coming, Deasia. You brought a totally different energy to the meeting, so we really appreciate you and your story. And please don't think it was very much understatement. You saying your little story, you have a big, big story for such a little life. So good for you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.